Oh my God. All right, so here's what we're going to be looking at. This is the Model 24, obviously, and then what I've done is I've done all the outs here, and I'm going into an Allen & Heath Z10. So this way you guys can hear everything that happens. So we've got the main outs, and we've got monitor outs, control room outs. I'm not doing headphone right now. I'll just tell you about that because I don't have another stereo out on this thing, and it's basically the same as the control room. All right, so that way I go into here and you can hear, you know, a facsimile of what's going out into your PA, say for instance, and then out of here I'm just going over here to this laptop into Reaper so you can hear what's going on, just so you guys know what you're looking at and why everything's set up the way it is. All right, let's do it. All right, so everything's hooked up, and we're going to start with the mains. Okay, I'm going to use one channel, and I have a mic plugged into it that you're hearing right now, and that's going to represent the same thing that would happen to everything else on the board. If you're not familiar with mixers, these channel strips are all the same. All right, so the only difference is on the Bluetooth channel, you don't have compression, and you don't have any EQ, and you don't have effects. That's the only difference. So here's what you'll hear through the mains. You're going to get your low cut. Now it's off. Low cut's back on. Then you're on live here, and we'll work on that later, but you have to have it on live if you're live. You've got compression, which you can hear. It compressed me a little bit there. You've got your EQ, and you can certainly hear me just going with the treble there. And then you've got effects. Timmy fell down the well. And then you got pan, left and right. And then you've got the mute button, and I'm sending to main. So all that stuff goes through the main stereo bus out. And you can also send the signal to the control room by hitting pre-fade listen, and we'll get into that in a second. All right, so that's the mains. That's everything that comes out except for one thing. You have this 7-band EQ that you might use over here. I have used it. It's usable. And if it's in the up position, it's going to the main mix, and when you press it, you can hear I put a weird curve on there just so you could hear it that it does go out the mains. So the reason you heard everything going out the mains is because on this board, I got the mains coming in here as if they were going into the amps that run the speakers in front of house. And I got mains on there. I don't know if you can read it. This is a long shot, but I want you to see everything. Okay, so we'll jump over here to monitors next. All right, so I'm going to turn the mains off on here so you won't hear. And turn the monitor up. I already had it set here. This is monitor 1, and I already had it set so you could hear me coming out of there. All right, so out of the monitors, what you're going to hear is all the same thing: the low cut, the compression, the EQ. Yeah, you won't hear the pan because it's a mono channel. So, and but everything else, effects, you'll hear. All right, so that's and it does mute to the monitors too. So if you hit the mute button, and in fact you got a full mute over here, but that doesn't mute the whole thing. You have to mute the individual channel for the monitors to be. That this will cut the main, but not the monitors, just so you know. All right, so you also you don't get the 7-band EQ unless you push the button on the EQ in for monitors, and then you'll get it. So you might use that for monitors, but you probably wouldn't. You'll probably use a full band, compressor on there. I mean, 7, you're going to be chopping huge chunks if you're trying to ring monitors out that way. But it might help you in a pinch, okay? That is what you're going to hear out of the monitors. You can mute all monitors over here. I'm sorry. You do have a full mute monitors. Sorry about that. All right. And, okay, next thing we're going to do is turn the monitors down, and we'll go into a subgroup. So I'm going to send this to the subgroup, take it out of the mains from here. You're still going to hear it because main is on over here. And I'm going to turn on sub and turn down mains, or monitors. All right. Now, the reason you were hearing me a minute ago is I still had the monitor up. Okay, so now you're hearing me out of the subgroup. And what I've done is I've taken this channel and not routed it to the mains directly. I've routed it to this subgroup first and then to the mains. Now, you can turn that off, and if you turn it off, it won't go to the mains. All right, but right now what we're hearing is the subgroup. And the reason we're hearing it, even if I turn it off to the mains, is because I'm coming out of the sub out up here. Now, you can actually feed that out to something, another board, a recorder, maybe some outboard gear or something like that, so that you can put some effects on that you don't have on here. There's a bunch of things you can do with those outs. Most people don't use them. I've used them on occasion. You can use it for a monitor, but if you use it for a monitor, you'll be lacking effects. It'll be a dry signal. But anyways, just so you know, the main reason you use sub, in case you guys don't know this, or whoever's watching, is normally, like, say, I'd take a whole drum kit and I'd put them all on the sub group. I wouldn't send them straight to the mains. I'd send them on the subs. And then once I had the drums all arranged the way I want them, where they sound good in relation to one another, the overheads and the kick and the snare and all that, then I can run the whole drum kit and turn it down if he's getting really wild, or turn it up if he's getting tired, and I can control the entire kit. You might also do that with like a group of backup singers or something like that. So they'll all get routed to just this one, and you can turn them up and down, a horn section or string quartet, whatever. And what this subgroup is going to get is the same thing. You're going to get your low cut, you're going to get compression, you're going to get your EQ, which you can hear. You're not going to get the effect in the subgroup though. So that's one thing. But what happens is, once you send the subgroup to the mains, then the effects will apply to it. So you don't have to worry about, well, I'm not going to have effects on this. You will once you send it to the mains, and it'll come out the main bus. So and I'll do that right now. I'll turn the mains back up. Now see, so you are hearing the even though I'm through the sub here, I'm going to the mains, and you're getting the effect. So anyways, so that's, and then the subs will not get the 7-band EQ. All right, and that's everything that's how the subgroup is routed. So next we'll go to the control room. Okay, this is where you're listening to what's going on to something in specific, or you might be recording out of it. You're probably going to be using headphones, and they're the same. That's why this is a big black box here, or block, rectangle. They get the same effects. So I only hooked up the control room because it has these nice outs, and I don't need to do the phones because it's the same thing. It just make this video longer. Okay, so let's go to that. I'm going to turn down subgroup here. I'm going to go back to main. Come on. And turn the control booth. All right, and then turn the control room on. Okay, so here we are in the control room, okay, or the headphones. So this is what you would hear if you were monitoring your band and you were listening for something. Normally what you're going to do with this is listen to the whole mix maybe a little bit, and then if something's a little out of whack, hit the pre-fade listen, and you'll hear that in the control room, and that will single out that one channel. So you can solo that channel and fix it up. There's nothing else on, but you can hear that little click, I guess. That's it going to just this one microphone. In the control room, you get your low cut, you get your compression, you get your EQ, because you want to hear all that, and you get your effects. All right, now when you go in pre-fade listen, you lose your effects. And the reason I'm sure they do that is because you're just trying to pick something out. You don't want to necessarily turn the effect out going to the audience, but you want to hear that strip without the effect on it, so you can adjust the EQ or whatever else might be going on with it. So and you're also going to hear your EQ. Is the main on here? It's on main, and no, you're not going to hear the 7-band EQ because that's dumb. Because you don't want to hear in your headphones and sit there and do this beautiful equalization job, and then the room be completely out of whack. So that's for the room, so you wouldn't do that in your headphones. That is it for the monitors. For the control room. And I think we've covered everything. So those are, if I missed something, let me know. This was kind of a long video. I was trying to not rush, but get everything in without taking too long. And that's the routing. So if you're not hearing something, you're working with this board and you're like, why the heck am I not hearing anything? Maybe I help straighten some of that out for you so you can see what's supposed to be going where. Some of it you might use. Something like the sub, you probably won't. You'll probably use it to group somebody together like that, and that's the routing for it, and that's fine. Using those outs, but I don't know. And I think that's it. All right, see you guys.